we are beginning our journey to CrossFit Solid Ground, where we're going to go meet Justin and Patrick, do a workout, and then do the podcast afterwards. So I'm going to go a bit early and set up all my gear because this is the first time I've done an on-location podcast, so I really hope I don't F anything up. I can't guarantee that though. But first, coffee. Our chariot awaits. Oh my god, the Uber driver just took us on a 20-minute excursion and now we have to climb over this piece of pallet. No.
Failed that person.
Is this wood rotten? Is the first question. This is functional fitness. Here, have me the bags. Oh my goodness. Justin's gonna think that we're so ridiculous. Welcome to CrossFit Solid Ground, people.
I didn't really see you guys with that much, so I didn't know if you guys... I just brought my little... Okay.
I'll set up the mics and stuff like that.
Or anything you ever do is dictated by what happened like that.
Yeah.
So whatever happened, you're gonna talk about that for an entire year. So like 2 years ago, like when I tore my bicep and then like was like rookie at the games, podium, like I told that story about 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And then like the next year it was like the drug scandal stuff or whatever. Like I told that story about 1,000 times. Then this year it's just like as soon as like halfway through the games I was like, I'm gonna have to talk about that fucking cargo net all year long. I was like, oh.
But tonight, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my pants, putting suckers in fear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon.
Why?
Do you think that your road to regional road to games are just gonna be like, they don't call it a comeback?
Oh,
I've been here for like.
They should. I think I hashtagged that.
Oh, did you?
Don't call it a comeback. Yeah.
So you gotta take a lot of pride in being like the entire storyline of the weekend with your comebacks
Yeah.
and like all the things that you run into.
Yeah, I know.
It makes it...
That's the problem though. I gotta stop running into things. Like everyone's like, wow, you know, like 2 years in a row, like, it doesn't start so good. I'm like, yeah, I know. Trust me. Like, I, if you're thinking it, I already thought it. Like, it's fine. But it was for sure. People were like,
It's just funny how many messages that like I got about it.
yeah, right.
Like, what's happening? I was like, I'm literally driving to Madison
Yeah,
right
but
now.
you're
I have no
like-
idea.
There.
You're the connection to the members, right?
Yeah.
And like, you know, and I know this, you don't, like your training, like isn't here, but you do some of your training here. You do some of it at school, right?
Mhm.
As well.
So I do most of it here, but you're right that like I talk about this with Justin sometimes that like I'm not really part of the community here. Like it's weird, and that's why this time of year is fun to like I'll just come do group classes and it's like nice. Like I re-meet members that like I see every day,
Yeah.
but I never talk to them. Like I'm like, and I think it's like partially. I think people who don't know me as well like give me a bit of a wide berth because all they know about me is like, oh, that's Vellner, like he's like CrossFit Games athlete.
That's
like,
one of my
stay out of his way, right?
Yeah.
And like I think that new members especially or people who are like maybe haven't had the chance to talk to me or whatever kind of think that and feel that, and totally fair. Like if I was a stranger walking into like, you know what I mean, if you walk in to like a hockey rink and you're like Sidney Crosby's playing on the ice, like you don't go like get in his way or like hit him with a puck. Like it's not like that. Anyway, it's just like I understand why they're like, oh, he's in the middle of like serious training, like we're not gonna bother.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, whatever. Like, and let's spend a lot of time here. Like, if somebody comes and talks to me, it's nice. Like some days I'm here by myself for hours.
Yeah.
So like it's nice, and
Do
I
you
don't
always train by yourself?
usually just by victim of circumstance, basically. Like we're.
But if you had, like, is there...
Sometimes, I mean, these guys will jump in every now and then. If there's,
Yeah.
like, I'll, like, write out... So around the games or regionals time, I'll kind of write out on the board kind of what I'm doing for the day. And some of the other athletes who compete occasionally will come in and be like, oh, like, what are you doing? And like, oh, maybe I'll jump in on this with you. Like, cool. Like, I'll probably be doing that in, like, 15 minutes. Like, cool, they'll just warm up, stretch, and then they'll join me for, like, 1 or 2 pieces, and then maybe do the class, then leave, right?
Right.
We have a bunch of people like tagging in and out for his sessions.
Yeah, and sometimes people will come visit, and like other athletes from the area will come in for like 1 session or something, but a lot of the time, just because of the way school is and when there's no classes kind of midday here, if I need a lot of space or a lot of equipment or a lot of whatever,
Yeah.
I'll come in that window where the gym's empty. There's like PT clients or people doing their own personal training stuff,
Right.
but there's space for me to do what I need to do, and sort of like sometimes you just need that little bit of like undisturbed space where if I need to set up like a handstand walk obstacle course and move a yoke across the gym and do sled pulls, like it takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
It's invasive. So if there's classes going on, it's impossible. And I mean, out of respect for these guys, let me have a lot of free reign here, which is awesome. But I mean, I try not to take all that rope and like hang yourself with it, right? Like if there's classes going on, like I do my best to stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Like I'll do what I need to do, but like I'll stand in the corner and like hammer myself on an erg if I have to, because there's 2 classes going on and like I can't just be everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
You posted that video about that one time where we had
Yeah.
a barbell and he's just in the back like dying and everybody's just like,
Yeah, they're just doing the barbell class. Like,
Yeah.
there's one where like on the assault bike, like taking years off my life,
And
people just like, it's fine. I'm just like background noise. Right?
yeah.
and that's what I want to talk about, because okay, so they're the people that keep the lights on, right? And
Yeah.
the members and like it builds great morale and everything to have you here, but you know, but is it like they're like, oh, he's here, we're gonna like...
And like I said, I think that there's people who, when they're new here, maybe think that, but most of the members who have been around for a while, like I've been here 3 years kind of now, and I've had at least a fleeting conversation with almost everybody here, other than people who are brand new, and like everyone's like fine, like, and they'll talk to me
Yeah.
and whatever, and they know I'm like not like a mean guy who's like, you should be scared of like getting in my way, you know what I mean? People are all pretty good.
I think there's like some people though that are out there, those like in between competitors though, that who are like, you cannot disrupt what I'm doing because I am so serious about
Yeah.
everything that I'm doing. And
It's
I
not
think,
like that
I
at
think
all.
I'm very much less like that than some athletes, even in the games or the regional level, are, just by virtue of my personality, I
Right.
think. But like I said, I can understand why people would be like intimidated, say, coming into whatever. And even like when I jump in and do a group class, like I think I kind of feel that people are kind of like, oh, like they're like watching you do stuff, and it's funny because like I don't know, I'm just here working out with everybody. Like,
you're like, I don't give a shit.
yeah, totally. But yeah. So like I said, I'm sort of like a sideshow almost in the gym, right? Like I don't pay a membership here even. Like I just
Yeah.
like I'm friends with Justin, and they've given me a home to train at, and it's awesome. And
You knew him before?
yeah, I competed against Justin before I moved here actually.
Right, because he was an individual regional
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah,
right?
so I was from Alberta. I lived my undergrad in Montreal, and we competed against each other a couple times when I was living there.
I think I did know you were from Alberta.
Yeah,
Is it your brother that's in Cirque du Soleil?
yeah, my older brother.
Where is he? In Montreal or in?
He's in Vegas.
In Vegas. What show?
Mysteria.
Oh. Where's that playing at right now?
Trainer.
So, this is gonna be a question about your brother. I have a friend who is like trying out for Zumanity too.
Oh,
but
he's a great show.
yeah, he's a really good dancer. But your brother is a really good gymnast.
He's not bad, yeah.
Acrobat. How did you get into that in Alberta?
My dad was a diver, so my older brother and I were gymnasts for.
Oh, that's pretty.
I think mostly both my parents worked when we were growing up. So we always had like, I think we just were in like a daycare program that the gymnastics club ran for quite a while, and then they just sort of like, if you were reasonably good or had any interest, they would just sort of like pluck you out and be like, oh, we think maybe your kid should try like competing, or like put you in a recreational program to start, and then like progress you into competitive. And yeah, we just kind of like, we were there doing daycare, and just like any kid. I think gymnastics is such a great sport for developing kids as far as like spatial awareness and just like learning movement. So that's what kids want to do. Like kids want to roll down a hill and cartwheel and throw themselves off of everything all the time. So it just gives them a safe place to do that, right? So we just did that, and then
so you start off with such a good base for like any other sport too, and like body awareness and things like that. So okay, I mean,
there's a lot of teachability in gymnastics for sure. Like if you did it for a little while, you're a very coachable athlete, I think.
Yeah.
Like you understand your body, you understand how to move, you understand like biomechanics, like fundamentals of like physics and biomechanics, like you just understand innately because you live that. Like
I did gymnastics for like a year, and like I didn't develop this chicken wing on those bar muscles from nowhere. Like that year, it just like transferred right over into my many other years.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good.
Okay, I'm gonna do a quick story, and then I'll hook it up, and then you two are gonna have to just get snug.
We have to talk this way, or is it pretty good pick up?
It'll pick up, like you'll just have to like lean into maybe about here.
Okay.
Like.
Okay. Well, we can go back and forth.
Yeah, like you can.
Just don't lean at the same
Talk over
time.
top of you. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm at CrossFit Solid Ground recording the podcast with these guys here. Wish me luck.
You just maybe redo the open so it's a little bit more challenging, and then do like a final ranking on that goes to the games. You think they do that?
The problem with relying solely on online qualifiers is people cheat.
That's true.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
You have no quality control, and I think that you lose a massive component in performance on demand, where athletes need to show up and be good now, react to things that happen, like you get no reps or standards change, or something in the briefing is different than what you practice, and you have to just deal with it and compete now. You don't get 3 days to practice it, you don't get to try it today, then retry it tomorrow.
That's true.
You just gotta do it. You have to do it and be as good as you're gonna be right now anyway. I just think that it would be a shame because you lose like you lose an aspect that live competition gives, where it's just like I was even just saying to these guys, like I did that workout in like 340. I think at the games I was like under 320. So like to be faster than like say 20 seconds faster on that workout. I did on my muscle ups unbroken. I did basically the same rep scheme as I did on the snatch. It's just like why? What in a 3.5 minute workout? Where do you pick up 20 seconds? That's a significant amount of time, and it's just like because there's people next to you and you're physically racing them.
And you're running back and forth, like right, because your station's all.
But again, even there, like I still had to walk forward to the next bar and walk forward, which is the same as walking backwards to the bar and forward to the thing. It's like the transitions were a little farther, and there's a little less urgency, but like that's a significant amount of time, and that is, it's kind of crazy to look at that and be like, wow, cool, like that's the difference.
All right, so if you boys are ready, we're gonna jump right into it.
Let's do it. Yeah, the games is just a snapshot, right? Like you get people see that and it's sweet and it's glamorous, but it comes back to like what we're saying, like it's dedication and it's like persistency and persistent training over the course of like, for some people it's years. Like there's guys who've been going to regionals for 4 years, 5 years, never made it to the games. Like there's not. People see that and they're like, that looks sweet, like, but yeah, it's like watching like someone do their Olympics run and then be like, oh yeah, sweet, I want to do that. Like there's a lot of time, like there's a lot of time that goes into it, and it's super challenging.
Well,
like
the other thing is like, look at training age. Like, you know, you see, okay, Pat's done, or you know, whatever, qualified for your first games in 2016, right?
And how old were you?
15, you were on a team.
26.
14, you came in 5th at regionals, which gets really overseen because you did that year of team, right? So that was your second open you qualified. But at that point puts you at 23, 24?
23 when I started CrossFit.
So, but you started training it 8, 9,
Oh yeah.
doing gymnastics.
That's the thing. Exactly.
That's what people don't see. It's like
Yeah.
I started training for playing sports in a competitive environment and in a gym with a structured program when I was 14. I made my first regionals when I was 28. That's 14 years of training. 4 years of training CrossFit every day, you know, focusing is my main focus. That's, you know, that's what people don't see. They get into it at 20 and they're like, oh, I've never been to a gym before. It's like, and you want to go to regionals next year? Like, you better be a freak athlete with some good genes or something.
Yeah. And it's like you. It's long-term work. Like you have to show up on the bad days. Like it's easy to be an athlete. Like it's honestly it's easy to be an athlete at the games or at the regionals or whatever. Like it's easy to show up and compete at competition. What's hard is to stay motivated for a whole year to like maybe make it there and to like show up for that one competition after a year of training. Like that's super challenging. Some days you show up and like everything hurts and it sucks and you're tired and the day's gonna be long and like that's when you have to like that's when you win the games. Like right there. Like you show up and like some stuff's on there that you really don't like and like you have to do it. Like that's the stuff you especially have to do. So like that's the secret. Like there's no trick, right? It's just it's persistency over a long term, like stubbornness and willingness to just do that.
Your willingness to like
it.
suffer and do everything you don't want to do.
That was, I talked about that when we were watching the Fibonacci. I was like, at the end with the lunges, I was like, this is just willingness to suffer right here.
Yeah.
Like, how long can you suffer for?
And that's a short workout relative to some of the other ones.
Oh, for sure.
6 minutes. I think was the cap.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's anyway. So that's the thing is it's so easy to look at some of the glitz and glamour in some of those events or those documentaries and things like that and be like, oh man, that looked really cool. Like it was super cool, but like you know it wasn't super chill. It's like those like days of 3 sessions after work and then like that sucked. Like
And what people forget is the training that you do isn't for your health. If you were doing training for your health, you'd be hitting the class.
Yeah, and that's
going on with your day.
a huge difference between like CrossFit Games and CrossFit like community fitness. Is the people who choose to compete and treat it as a sport. That's what it becomes. It's not. It's like any sport. Like competing at the games. Say like you're the NFL of CrossFit. Like, do you think those guys are healthy? Like that's not good for you. Like you beat yourself up really bad. Yeah, there's a super high impact. Like yeah, there's risk of injury. Yeah, there's this. Yeah, there's that. But those are risks that you assume when you decide, hey, I want to compete at this. Like it's the same with any sport. If you say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go play hockey, like you know that you're gonna get bumped around and there's risks that like you get hit, you break something, you fall into the boards weird, like things happen, right? But yeah, absolutely. Like we're pummeling ourselves pretty bad. And I mean you have to be smart about it or you won't last for multiple years. So most of the people who are willing to do it understand or have coaches that understand how to periodize that to protect you as best they can. We're gonna have to see now that there's the talks about how they're gonna change the season, and it sounds like some of it's gonna make it a bit more year round, and I think that's dangerous personally. But because you lose that ability to take this rest of August, September, October to like let yourself come down, maybe focus on some strength training or some lower impact stuff, and then ramp yourself back up. Because if you have to keep that peak output and that your performance peaked all year round, people are going to burn out or they're going to get hurt. They're only going to last like a short.
I listened to a podcast that said they thought like it was going to take like 7 to 10 years off. You know how like they talk about the NFL players and
taking time off your lifespan.
Yeah, off your lifespan. Do you read much into any of that?
Not really.
But like, I mean,
That's so
you're
hard
into
to predict.
wellness as it is, right? Like your job itself too is about general wellness.
They say that about marathons. Like the number of marathons you run takes X
That's
amount of
just
time
like
off your life.
because of
but-
general stress on the body. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. My argument, people probably won't love this, but I've been told a lot of times about like I have really bad shoulders from gymnastics, and then like when I hurt my bicep there a couple years ago, one of my concerns was like if I'm working as a chiropractor, working with my hands a lot, like it's physical work, and it was like, am I gonna have issues like arthritis in my shoulder at a younger age if I don't get this repaired. And one of the doctors was basically like, he's like, how long did you compete in gymnastics? It's like, like 12, 13 years. And he's like, and now you're like your weightlifter basically? I'm like, yeah, kinda. And he's like, so bad news, like you're gonna have arthritic shoulders. He's like, no matter what you do. And I was like, oh, so fair enough. And like, is that, the way I look at it is like, okay, so let's say if I didn't ever do any like competing in CrossFit, just in the classes and be healthy, and I live 5 more years, let's say I live to 90, and I can do this, I have an opportunity to do this, travel around, have some really cool experiences, get some sweet medals, and die at 85. I'll take the 85, thanks.
But
Like
it's also, it's like the lung capacity
those
thing.
back end years aren't that valuable to me, I don't think. Like at that point, I'm not really doing anything. Like these years I can do something with, so do it. Like that's how I see it, kind of. It's just like my personal outlook on that stuff is like, don't save yourself for 90. Like what are you gonna do at 90?
Yeah, you weren't born to pay bills and die. But that's like the lung capacity thing. You're like, you know, did it affect you in the other workouts? You're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is this going to affect you when you're 80?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
Yeah,
80.
it's a lot. All that stuff is like it's speculation based on whatever extrapolation of data, right? But I don't know. Yeah, I'm perfectly healthy now. I've got like I don't know. I like don't get sick very often. I'm not as healthy as I could hope to be. So I don't think that I'm not gonna make a problem where there isn't one.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for coming and doing that with me.
Thanks for coming to town.
Yeah, a small town Saskatchewan girl just here in the big city. But yeah, awesome workout today. Got an awesome podcast, and I do honestly really appreciate you taking the time to sit down because I know, like you said, time is precious in your careers and workouts and all that other stuff. So I really do appreciate everything. And now we get this back to the guys at Contrast Recording so that they can put the final touches on it and hopefully get it out here in the next little while.
Sweet.
Thanks,
Our
guys.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.